Hello everyone, my name is Telma. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for those of you who have been sticking it out with me with all my inconsistencies. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are new here, thank you for clicking and watching. And I really hope that you don't leave without subscribing to my channel. Today's video basically is really just talking about the things that I learned in my 20s. I just turned 30 and I was just reflecting on the things that I've learned while I was in my 20s. I cannot believe that I'm in my 30s. Okay, without wasting much of your time, I will, head into the video. So, the first thing that I learned, and I would have said in no particular order to be honest, but for this one, I think is the first thing that I learned in my 20s. You can love people and still choose yourself. Like, I really know how to love people, and sometimes I neglect myself, my feelings, my opinions, just to make sure that some other people are pleased, they're happy. So even if I'm unhappy with something, because I love this person and this person wants this, I will basically agree to whatever the person wants. And I found that it was really, really, not good, because sometimes it can lead you to loot the person secretly. You just really, you don't like it, and when things go wrong, you want to blame the person so hard. But then I had the opportunity to decide, to actually speak my mind. But I wasn't someone who liked to speak my mind like a lot. Um, I would just I used to consider it being easygoing, loving and all that, but it wasn't good, because I didn't always get the best services that I deserved based on what I paid, paid for it, like for instance. So yeah, you can love people and still choose yourself. Don't self-abandon. Loyalty doesn't mean self-neglect. Like, still have your say your mind. You can go for what you want. You don't have to join the crowd, basically. You can be loyal to them, but if it's not your thing, if it's not your value, if it's not your thing, you can say no. Really, you can say no. And it doesn't mean that you don't like them. You love them, but you love yourself enough to respect your values, your feelings, your opinions, everything, really. And that's basically one of the greatest things that I learned while I was in my 20s. And the second thing is, not everyone will come with you, and that's okay. Like, because of my personality, you know um I sometimes want to hold on to friendships or things that I know that I can let go of at this in the season of my life. But I want to hold on to everything. Oh my god, I can't lose this friend, because we've been through thick and thin, sort of thing. But people, like, just like the seasons of life, like, we have autumn, we have spring, we have winter, and if you're in Nigeria, rainy season, dry season. Sometimes, really, you have to let go. Some people don't have to go into the next season of your life, and that's perfectly fine. This is not because um you know you're quarreling or anything, but because, to be honest, the next season of your life will not require them. And it's okay to let go, and you can still be rooting for them, honestly. Just because you're no longer in that close circle where you guys are talking, gisting, laughing like before, or visiting yourselves, it does not mean that you won't root for them or wish them all the best lucks. But they don't also now have to be in your next season where you're telling them everything. I know, and there's some people who are honestly covenant sisters, covenant friends, people that, I'm sorry, they would almost stay with you. And you will know that because it's almost like in all the seasons of your life, they too have evolved enough to be in that season with you. Do you get? So yeah, and or they're in that space where you can learn from them, or you know just basically, that's it. So that's one of the things I learned. Like, it's okay. I used to be someone that cried for my friends when I'm no longer talking to them, or somehow, we are not that close as we used to be. I used to mourn for it, and I used to want to make time for that, for them. I want to have that energy to give them as well. But honestly, some seasons you would even know that it's not longer, that season where they can be your friend, and that's perfectly fine, you know. And another thing I learned was, and I heard this one recently and it made sense, is that discipline always beats motivation. This is a big one for me. Like, if I'm not motivated, I am not doing it. So just the same thing with YouTube. Like, um, I used to say, or I always tell my friends, oh, I'm not in that headspace. And the truth is, it's true. YouTube requires, or anything, when if you're creating content, anything creative, most times you want to be in that good headspace where things are going um going good for you, so that it just comes from a place where you're sleeping and then you're thinking of the content you're going to create and everything. But I find that sometimes it goes to other areas of your life, like even prayer. Like, you only pray when you feel like praying. You only study your Bible when you feel like studying. So it's all about feelings, feelings, feelings. But you don't need all that. Like, you just need discipline, and discipline is about showing up every time, even when you don't feel like, you don't feel your best. You're gonna pray when you don't feel, because it's not your feelings. And yeah, see, it's still something I'm still learning, still going to learn, because if life hits me, I'm sorry, I'm going to go off all that. But I really hope that in my 30s, in this my 30s, I show up more for, every day, consistently, for myself. Not just because, oh, it's not about YouTube or anything, but I really show up, like, put myself in. If I need to pray every day, I need to pray every day. And I'm so far so good. I have been doing it. And sometimes really it doesn't mean that maybe if to, like, for instance, you pray every day and then you miss today and then you miss tomorrow, then it means that you've lacked discipline. Doesn't mean that. But it just means being able to pick yourself up. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. I have a friend who, is she was just saying that it's even in the times when she's bubbly, laughing, everything, that's the time that maybe life is hitting her so hard. And it got to me because I would usually not say that. If life is not going well, I'm sorry, I'm not showing up. I need to be motivated. I need that good energy, not when I'm going through life. But yeah, that's something I learned. Discipline beats motivation, really. Like, hands down, even in health, gym, honestly, in that area, as I said, it's still something that I'm learning. You need to, I don't have to feel like I want to exercise, just like, it doesn't have to be so much, just something little. But yeah, you get it. That's what I've learned, and that's what I'm still learning as well. And then the next one is that life doesn't follow a single timeline. Life doesn't follow a single timeline. So we all have timelines. Oh, like, I don't know if you've watched, me thinking that I'll be married at 25. And because that's almost like the ideal sometimes, like, 25 is like a great age, it feels like you're grown and you have to be married at that time. And then also in terms of career, you want to have it all figured out on time. You need to be in that career of your dreams at the same, like, within a timeline before your 30s, but it doesn't follow a single timeline. And if you're a believer like I am, God has the final say, to be honest. God has the timelines of your life. So you can try and try and try, but God has the timeline of your life. So you need to trust God for that timeline, like for his timeline, basically, not yours. It's hard because so many things I was praying for, crying for, and we want to manipulate God for those timelines to come quick. It didn't happen, and I'm grateful, because now, looking back, I'm grateful that he didn't answer most of my prayers. And so I say to you, life doesn't follow a single timeline. It's okay if you're still figuring it out. And if you're single, whatever, honestly, you're not you're not far off. You can get married today and you have your children just immediately after your marriage, and someone who got married before you might not have their children straight away. And it's not, it just shows you that it differs. You're never late. You're just never late. As long as you have God, you're never ever late. And yeah, in your career as well, honestly, I'm a strong believer of whatever your hand finds to do, do it well. Do it, because you're getting skills, you're learning different things. Even in the most mundane jobs, you're picking up certain skills that will be transferable to another skill. Sometimes God takes you through, you know, different seasons, where you're maybe doing something that you don't necessarily like, but in that season you can just learn maybe how to be more organized, or how to work under pressure or something. And that's perfect, because when his time comes for you to now be in that career of your choice, or the career that you really want, you find out that you've been equipped for that new season and that new stage of your life. So yeah, life doesn't follow a single timeline, and you're never behind. You're never behind. It's just different timelines. And then the next one I've learned is that you outgrow versions of yourself. Um, you, I don't think that you should be the same person every time. I don't know. I just feel like there should always be growth. So be ready to change. And it's the same thing with, is in all areas of life. Like, you grow versions of yourself that used to maybe wear a certain kinds of clothes, hang out with certain kind of friends. See, you are growing, you are evolving, and as you grow, you maybe in knowledge, or you adjust. You just adjust. You cannot stay in the same, like, want to behave the same way all the time. So you really outgrow versions of yourself, and that's very important. Change is not very, you don't really like change, but it's very necessary. And then being alone is a skill. Being alone is a skill. Yes, I wouldn't say that I think it's still something that I'm also learning, to be alone. I think it's very necessary sometimes to be alone, because you get to think more. I don't know, you just become more introspective. And it's very necessary to learn it as a skill. Take yourself out. I think I've done that like one or two times, where I've taken myself out, had ice cream on my own. It wasn't very very interesting, but and that's why it's a skill that you learn. I felt very uncomfortable, like, oh, you can have ice cream, sit down there alone, read a novel. It was interesting, but it was also like, it was very uncomfortable, because I'm not used to that. I'm not used to taking myself out. But then I started to learn how to really stay on my own. I mean, I lived on my own for a long time. So, and that really taught me how to learn to be on your own, stay on your own, you know. Yeah, and take yourself to fix your nails for dates. It's something that we should learn, really. Your own company, without distraction or any validation. And it just builds confidence, to be honest. Even travel on your own is something that people need to also learn to do. Travel on your own, it's such a powerful skill. Another thing that I've learned is that gratitude shifts perspective, not circumstances. So this is very profound for me. Um, as I said, I'm always someone who wants to wait for the circumstances to be right to do something. But I've learned that really, in no matter the circumstances, if you stay grateful, it changes your perspective, because you begin to see the things that are also going right for you. The people that are out there that you're looking at, and you're waiting for your circumstances to be like them, are also going through something that they are also hoping that the circumstances change. But you see, one thing in life is that, and I think it's something that I regret, if there's a regret in my 20s, is that sometimes you put your life on hold till waiting for things to work out for you before you actually leave. It's very wrong. Leave. Be grateful. Praise, dance. See, there are seasons where I had to learn that a hard way. I think there's a season where God said that's your year of dance, and I had to always dance, even when nothing was seeming like it was great. But you just dance, you just thank God. You're just grateful. You look at your life. Life doesn't become perfect immediately, but you can't put your life on hold until it's perfect. So yeah, that's one thing that I learned. And then it's okay to start again. Yes, it's okay to start again. Sometimes we don't want to start afraid, but I used to tell my friends, or there's something I used to say is, he that is down needs fear no fall. And it's also a hymn, to be honest, and I take it very personal. I used to say, see, if you're down, there's nothing else. Again, you can't go down now. You're already down. So the only way again is to go up. So honestly, it's okay to start again. You're not a failure for starting again or leaving things behind. And I'm not a believer of a bird in hand, is, but I don't know that proverb, but you know it. I'm not a believer of that. I actually feel that sometimes letting go allows God to give you something better. Let go. I don't know who needs to hear it. Let go. You don't have to hold on. You don't have to hold on to those things, to that relationship, to that career that is giving you heartache. But because I need the finances, to be honest, be led for that one, be led. But learn to let go, to be honest, and start again. If you've maybe, even with your friendship, you can start again. Some people write off people so much. Oh, I'm never going to talk to this person. While I said, yeah, I've learned that seasons change, friendships change. Some people, as I said, they are covenants, and if you've not really been great with them, start again. Start to rebuild relationships, or that you've exed and everything. You should know that, be led, as I said. And then the next thing, I think everybody knows this, and it's something that everybody will continue to learn, is that comparison steals joy faster than failure. So you keep comparing yourself, oh, this person is this person has gone this far. Stop comparing yourself. I think God is very wise to make you you. I was listening to Pastor Aaron, and he said, how people say, in my next world, I want to come back as Dangote's daughter. I've said something like that, but I've realized that honestly, in my next world, I want to come back as me, because to be honest, God makes no mistake, and I really think that we need to start seeing our journey, owning our journey, enjoying every bit of it, because it's beautiful in its own way. It's very beautiful in its own way. So yeah, stop comparing yourself at all. No one has it all figured out. No one has it perfect. And I think this is my last one. I think I've been talking for so long, and I didn't expect it to be this long, but rest is no laziness. So I know that, especially when you're in your 20s, you're hustling, because we have to make this money. We want to hustle so that some of us have the timeline that by 40 we are retired. Fantastic dream. But rest, so like me living in the UK here, I see so many people that take shifts, from Sunday to Sunday. And when I think one said, oh, they only have like 1 day or 2 days in a whole month to rest. And I find it very, ridiculous. Sorry, I used to hear people say, oh, um, Thelma, you're Ajibo, or for those of you who don't know what Ajibo is, maybe you're a rich kid and everything. That's why, you don't want to take shifts in the weekends and all. And I said, and then I'm like, it's not that. I really value work-life balance. And I think it's very important because, I mean, your needs of the day, I used to say, the needs, you can never stop needing something. Like, you would always need something. No matter how much money you make, you will need more and more. And God forbid, health crisis. Sometimes you find that the money that you've saved up so much or you've made, while it covers for a period of time depending on the health condition, it goes off like this. So rest, take care of your body. This body is the only body that we have, so take care of it. Rest is not laziness. Sometimes people think that when you're sleeping or you're not doing anything, you're not being productive. No, rest. God created the world and rested on the last day, seventh day. So rest is a very key thing. Yeah. And that's the end, really. Those are the things that I've learned. Please, in my comment section, if there are other things that you've learned, if you're now in your 30s or you've learned so far in your life, please share it. Let's chat together in my comment section. Thank you so much for watching this far, and bye.